This video, The Architecture of Divine Wealth, reconstructs Islamic charity through the lens of Quranic linguistics and economic justice. We explore a paradigm shift from inherited tradition to the Quranic text. The Quran bases calculation on surplus wealth, suggests a 20% rate, and requires immediate payment upon receiving income. The linguistic DNA of giving distinguishes Zakat, ZKW, which relates to purity and growth, from Sadaqah, SDQ, which relates to truth and sincerity. Zakat is the objective refinement of assets, while Sadaqah is the subjective expression of the heart. Zakat is the objective law of purity. The action, ATY, means to establish and physically give resources. The reality, HQQ, is a fixed binding legal right for the poor, not an optional charity. Sadaqah is the subjective proof of faith. Its motive is truth, sidq, aligning word and deed. The action is a voluntary, spontaneous, goodly loan independent of timing, and its scope includes non-financial acts like kind words. This matrix clarifies the distinction. Zakat is a mandatory pillar focused on cleansing wealth and is timed upon gain, exclusively for 8 categories. Sadaqah is voluntary, proving faith's sincerity, and can be given any time to anyone in need. The due amount is extracted from the surplus, al-afwa. From the gross income, you subtract basic living needs and legitimate debts. What remains is the surplus, from which the due al-haq is extracted. As Surah 2 to 219 states, they ask what they should spend. Say, the surplus. The Quranic model emphasizes immediate circulation. Income received is the harvest. The obligation, the haq, must be rendered immediately, eliminating the traditional annual anniversary. Your paycheck or profit is the day of your harvest. 2 paths lead to the same destination: immediate payment of the due on the day of harvest. The institutional due proposes Khums, a fixed 20% rate for a safety net. The living decision allows flexible capacity, arguing that the exact percentage depends on the believer's conscience and specific capacity. Personal capacity requires equilibrium, finding the middle way. We must avoid the miserly extreme of hoarding wealth and the destitute extreme of giving to the point of self-ruin. The instruction is not to make your hand chain to your neck nor extend it completely, becoming blamed and insolvent. Zakat, as a mandatory tax, is subject to the restrictive gate of distribution, inama only. It must exclusively go to the 8 specific categories listed in Surah 9 to 60, preventing its use for generic causes or random donations. The administrative convergence presents a paradox. Surah 9 to 60 sets Zakat, objective law, farida, as rigid categories. Yet Surah 9 to 103 commands, take a sadaqah, subjective sincerity, to purify and increase them, to zakhihim. The insight is that the state collects the proof of sincerity, sadaqah, which results in purification, zakat. The integrated ecosystem of wealth shows zakat as the mandatory structure and sadaqah as the voluntary spirit. Total circulation occurs when we satisfy the calculated right of the needy and give beyond duty out of love, ensuring moral integrity and preventing hoarding. Welcome to the DNA of Giving, a systems engineering blueprint for Quranic charity. We will deconstruct zakat and sadaqah through the linguistic roots found in the clear book. We move from a ritual tradition to a socio-economic engine. The traditional assumption includes a 1-year wait and a fixed 2.5% rate. The Quranic engine, however, mandates immediate timing, a rate calculated on the surplus, and a nature of literal binding financial right. Zakat's semantic root, ZKW, means to grow, increase, or purify. It is an objective duty, a systemic mechanism for removing the, quote, bitterness of greed from surplus wealth. Its twin functions are purification and growth, enabling community assets to flourish. The semantic seed of Sadaqah is SDQ, meaning truthfulness, sincerity, or to confirm a claim. Sadaqah is the subjective proof. It serves as a physical proof of internal faith, aligning word and deed to validate inner sincerity. The definitive distinction matrix shows that zakat is a mandatory, systemic social duty calculated on the surplus, while sadaqah is voluntary, spontaneous, and a personal expression of devotion to prove faith. The harvest trigger eradicates the 1-year wait. The Quran mandates rendering a due on the day of harvest. This triggers immediate extraction and community impact, promoting frequent wealth circulation to fund the social safety net continuously. The Al-Afwa equation defines the base for zakat calculation. It is never calculated on gross income, but strictly on the surplus, the excess after covering basic living needs and required obligations. This protects the giver while preventing greedy hoarding. The how much debate offers two Quranic pathways. One suggests a fixed 20% rate from gains, while the other emphasizes a flexible capacity demanding individual evaluation. Both reject the un-Quranic 2.5% minimal tax. The 8 nodes of Surah 9 to 60 define the exclusive recipients for Zakat, proving it is a literal, tangible transfer of resources, functioning as a complete welfare state for categories like the poor, needy, and debtors. The Inno resolution addresses the paradox of mandatory law, or Fidya, being described using the language of voluntary sincerity, or Sadaqat. The resolution is that the objective duty demands subjective sincerity for spiritual validity. Sadaqah has a boundless scope. Voluntary charity is described as a seed with exponential spiritual and social growth. It is not bound by categories or timelines. Even kind words and forgiveness are transcendental forms of charity. The tiered architecture of giving has 3 levels. The base tier is Zakat, the legal minimum. The middle tier is Kaffarah, a structured penalty. The apex tier is voluntary Sadaqah, representing moral excellence and ultimate sincerity. The systemic output aims at eradicating poverty through rapid wealth circulation and justice by design, taxing only the surplus. The Quran provides a literal, masterfully engineered blueprint for a tangible social safety net.